So last week I began a series on the framework, or a framework, of what we believe as Protestant Reformed Christians, followers of God in Jesus Christ. And last week I asked the question, why do we show up here at church? Why do we inquire about God? What is this hunger within us? And I centered my thoughts on 1 Corinthians 13 and that line that says, "Now we see in a mirror dimly, but then we will see face to face." And I pose to you all that we see glimpses of God in the form of love, this mystery called love. And so we keep going back to the mirror. We keep wiping the steam off the window or the mirror to get more of a glimpse of this God in Jesus Christ, who we think has some answers to our deepest question, has some solution for that void in our lives. So we keep wiping. But this week I turned the question around. Not so much what we're seeking, but how does God reveal God's self to us? And I think Exodus chapter 33 is a great biblical story to see a variety of ways that God reveals God's self to God's people. The first thing we need to remember is a macro vision of what is going on well before the people of Israel end up in the desert. And it's that whole idea that God is relational and God is a liberator. Remember that these people were held captive in slavery by Egyptians. And we are told that God remembered them, that they were the ancestors of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They were a part of the 12 tribes, and they had been put into slavery. And God remembered, because God is relational and God is a liberator, and pulled them out of slavery. And so now they are a wandering people, a nomad people in the wilderness. And as soon as Moses goes up on the mountain to receive the law of God, what do the people do? They want something else to worship. So they worship this gold calf statue. And God's displeased, but the character of God is still mercy. God says, you know what? I still want the people to be free into the promised land of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But I'm going to send an angel to lead them, because I may consume them if I go. But I'm a God of mercy. So go on. And we also get a vision in here of a God that's free. It's not going to be manipulated or controlled by humanity. Remember that line in there that God says, I'll be gracious who I want to be gracious to. I'll show mercy to who I want to show mercy to. But the same God who's free and mysterious is also a God that will listen. And this same God listens to Moses' plea for the people. Don't just be in relationship with me, God. Be in relationship with all these people, despite the fact that they've gone astray. And so God listens, and God even changes God's mind and says, yes, Moses, I'll go with you, and I'll go with the people. When you think about all these characteristics of God, isn't it exactly what we want in relationships with our peers, relationships with family members, relationships with neighbors and those we care about? Somebody who remembers us, even if it's been a long time since we've seen them. Someone who initiates with us. Don't we love when people initiate with us? Someone who liberates us. We feel oppressed by something, and they help us see our freedom and our new life. Don't we love relationships within family or friendships that are merciful? Where somebody forgives us for a way we have gotten way off base with them. And when we forgive them, there is just a mutuality that is wonderful. Don't we love friends who are confident, who can be themselves? They're fun to be around because they have character. They're just not trying to please everybody else. They're confident and free in who they are. And isn't that who God is? And don't we love friends who listen in the silence that Chris talked about, who listen to our lives and absorb who we are? All these attributes of God are the exact things that we appreciate in the best of friendships and relationships that we have with each other, the best of each other. And that's the way God reveals God's self. In our prayer of confession today, I don't know if you noticed, I hope you noticed that those words are familiar, because they're words from a text in Isaiah, and they're also words that Jesus read aloud. And this is recorded in Luke chapter 4. And Jesus is in his hometown, and it's the Sabbath, and he's reading a lesson. He opens up the scroll in the synagogue on the Sabbath, and he reads these lines from Isaiah, and he is making the context of these lines himself. He says, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because God has anointed me to bring good news to the poor. God has sent me to proclaim release to the captives and recovery of sight to the blind, to let the oppressed go free, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor." You know, I think God came in the flesh as Jesus to proclaim those words and to live into the actions that come after those words, because God knows we as human beings relate best to what we identify with. And so God came in the form of a human being because we know our humanity. We know what we need when we see it. And so we see God best in the form of a human being that is Jesus Christ. When we are literally poor or metaphorically poor, and it is Jesus proclaiming good news, we understand that. When we are held captive or holding other people captive, Jesus speaks into that. When we are blind or help somebody else who is blind, Jesus is present in that. When we have oppressed or we are the oppressed, Jesus is in the middle of that. It's because this liberator, Jesus Christ, comes into all those situations. Whether you are the one holding the power or you are the one who is poor and oppressed, Jesus has liberation from either of those postures and everything in between. So how is God revealed? Well, God is revealed in creation. On a beautiful walk that Chris is taking or someone else is taking, we see God in creation. God is revealed through the history of Israel that we have read this morning. God is revealed in the person of Jesus Christ. And we know about all those things because of this little book of stories. God is revealed through the pages of this book. God is revealed through a community talking about their faith in Jesus Christ. And God is revealed in the Spirit at work in our community, being together and going out into the world. You know, I want to come full circle from our thoughts last week of us wiping off that mirror, trying to get a glimpse of God. I think Moses gives us a great picture of wiping off that mirror, wiping off that glass to see a clearer image of God. God says, hey Moses, I'll send an angel to guide you and the people up into that promised land. And what does Moses do? Moses said, no, I don't want an angel. I want you, God. I want you to guide us to that land. And God says, okay, I'll go with you, Moses. And Moses catches God's language and says, no, I don't want you just to go with me. I want you to go with all of the people. Yeah, those stiff-necked people who consistently go astray. I need you to go with all of us up to that land. And God says, okay, I'll go. And you know what? Moses still doesn't relent. He still doesn't relent. Oh, and God, I want to see your glory. I want to see you. I want to know you. And then we get that confident friend who is free still. And God says, no, you can't see my face, the mystery of my face, because it'll kill you. But I will let you see my back. You can see a part of me. But what I love is Moses' motivation. Moses keeps going after God, keeps wanting to experience God more fully. Come on, God, show me more. And we can do that today. We can speak to God in that way. Reveal yourself. Show me yourself. And when we get little glimmers, we want to be like Moses. We want to keep asking for more. And that is our prayer life. Every time in your life a genuine relationship is initiated, God is revealed. Every time liberation happens and freedom happens, whether you are being oppressed by the power you think you hold or whether you are being oppressed by power, every time liberation happens, that is God being revealed. Every time grace and mercy is offered, God is revealed. Every time you are listened to, God is revealed. And when a story of Christ's marvelous work is proclaimed, God is revealed. May our eyes be open. May our hearts be open. May our minds be open to the marvelous ways that God is being revealed to us. Amen.